Hi everyone, this is Chingir, and decided to shoot a quick video. I've been hiring a lot of software devs lately, so yeah, decided to share some insights with you, and hopefully this is gonna help you to prepare. This is for you, my software developer friends, but basically, let's just go through some questions that you should expect on the phone screen. Definitely, you should expect them if you have a phone screen with me, but I think like something along the similar lines you will be hearing on the first round on the phone interview with any kind of organization. And yeah, just want to share with you some questions. Question one, what's your favorite project, right? And very often when we say favorite, that sort of implies like, hey, what's the most complex project that you've had? And that's just logical because something of higher complexity would excite you, right? And yeah, maybe this is something you can think about and prepare your story. Question two, tell me about the most complex technical problem that you've ever had, and tell me about the solution, how you solved the problem, right? In a similar way, when people talk about the type of problems they've solved in the past, it tells about the depth and the breadth of their experience. For software developers specifically, right, it speaks about their technical prowess and the technical acumen, right? What's the most complex piece of code that you've shipped, right? Also, same thing. There are so many things that you can encapsulate in this story about what was the project, what was the complexity, and like why do you think that's complex. It also right away tells the team of what kind of things in a particular programming language do you find still complicated to do, right? And for example, if you're a Java developer, right, and obviously people mostly work on microservices these days, right? But if you have 10, 12, 15, 20 years of experience, you probably had experience working on large monolithic applications, right? And I don't know, maybe someone will ask you, like, do you have experience breaking them down, breaking a monolith into microservices? So stuff like that, right? I would ask you a question: what kind of thing you've been working on Java for 15 years? What kind of things do you still feel complicated to do, right? Like what's your experience with garbage collectors and etc. So hopefully this helps. Question four: as a developer, how do you ensure that your code is scalable, maintainable, and efficient? Very cool question, because again, it doesn't matter what your level is, from junior to senior, right? Your answer shows a lot about how you treat your code, what kind of best practices do you follow in this. Question five: what was the most frustrating bug in your history, right? Also gives you an opportunity to tell your story, and gives you an opportunity to tell about like what's your debugging approach. How did you exercise your problem solving capability, and how did you fix the bug, and what was the solution? And also tells the team what kind of things you find frustrating. Also tells the team how do you actually react to having bugs, right? Are you being frustrated? Question six: do you have any implementation regrets? So again, very interesting. It's a bit of an analytical question. Can you look back in your past and think about, okay, like I could have done it better, or I could have done it differently, better, again, in a more efficient, effective way. So a very interesting question. Question seven: testing approach, right? Well, as a developer, how do you make sure that your software is thoroughly tested before deployment? Same thing, right? Unit testing, automation testing. What kind of experience do you have with different tools, right? For a different particular language, stuff like that. Question eight, question that's probing your upskilling, inquisitiveness, and learnability, right? The world of technology is changing fast. How do you make sure that you are staying up to date, and how do you upskill yourself as a developer? So again, shows your creative approach to learning. Are you still hungry? Are you inquisitive? Do you still, regardless of how many years of experience you have, you still hungry for knowledge, and do you still create this kind of again, treat yourself as a student, right? As a lifelong student. Number nine: why have you chosen this career path? Why being a dev, right? And I'm saying, like, I'm not a dev, you're a dev. Why have you chosen this career path? And what do you love about it, right? And this question, again, tapping into the most important driver. What's pushing you forward? Why do you love it, right? Because we want to hire people who do this not because it was fancy, not because their parents pushed them in a computer science degree, but because this is what they are. They live to code, they live to ship software, and if they're senior, like, they love mentoring and nurturing young technical talent. Question 10, what's your vision, right? Again, many people still ask this dumb question, like, how do you see yourself in 5 years? I would give a twist to this question. I would say, obviously, no one can ask you, like, how do you see yourself in 5 years? But everyone has vision. What's yours? What's the long-term game when it comes to your career? And again, that gives you an opportunity to exercise some depth and show, right? Like, where do you want to develop yourself, right? Some people want to become just high-level coders, architects, right? Some people want to go into management path and help to nurture others, right? So think about what you're going to say there. 11, that's a question, a universal question. That I ask pretty much all my new friends that I meet, right? I'm asking, what does it take to be a top performer in your role? And that's a question that I love. That's a question that I almost sort of invented for myself, because number one, if you are not a top performer, you have no idea what top performance look like. And if you are a top performer, top performance exists in many different ways, right? And especially in software development, it's very, very interesting, because if you have a sophisticated mind, you can ship certain software and create an impact that junior intermediate developers cannot, right? So again, performance, what does that look like for you? When people answer this question, they don't talk about top performers, they talk about themselves, right? And that tells the team exactly the story of how they perceive themselves. So that's a question that's tapping into self-perception. Question 12, what's the best team you've ever worked with, and what made them the best? Universal question, regardless of the role, not only software developers, but this is something I can ask in a similar way, like, how do you collaborate with people? And I think, and thank you, someone shared with me today, like a little twist to this question to understand, like, how people collaborate as software developers. In a similar way, you can ask peer review, code review, right? You've shipped a code and someone is criticizing it, right? Someone on the team is putting it under scrutiny and pressure, right? What's your reaction? How would you go about it, right? A bit of a behavioral question, but again, can reveal some additional insights to the team, and that's what they want. They just want to collect more information about you. Question 13, and I like to ask this question a lot, is how do you assess technical talent? So if you're a senior, and I would ask you, you've nurtured young talent, and you've hired intermediate junior developers before, or even senior developers before. What are you looking for? What are you looking for in a developer, and what kind of questions do you ask them? And then, as a second part, I would flip the question, and I would say, okay, and that's a cool question. Well, how would you answer yourself personally this question? So with technical talent, that's especially of like a high complexity roles, this is something that we as recruiters can do. And yeah, like of course, expect lastly the question like, hey, do you have any questions for me, right? This is again communicates a lot, right? How much research are you making? Are you strategic about your decision? What's important to you? It communicates so much, but when questions are not being asked in the end, it's either I did my job very well or there is nothing to ask, and there's no curiosity there in the person. So prepare for that part as well. Question 1 to 9, right? Again, they're a little bit more software developer specific, and question 9 to 15, they're universally applicable. Do expect them regardless of the role. So there you have it. I hope this helps you in the next one. Again, do expect these questions regardless of your level, from junior to senior developer, and regardless of the organization, some variations of this question will be asked. And when I talk to dev managers, architects, senior developers, they all say same things, right? They can assess level just by the way the person communicates and articulates. So communication skill, right? Being articulate about what you have done and what you can do is super critical, especially for technical people out there. So write your stories, prepare your narratives, right? Stories sell, so storytelling is a skill. Develop this, and I hope this helps you in your next role. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next one.